Salutations everyone! While we've still got quite some time left for War Within, and it's going to be quite the hot minute till midnight is truly upon us, I don't see the full harm in listing out some of my own hopes for the Midnight expansion. The basic rundown that we know of for Midnight is that the Void is on the move to Quel'thelas and the Sunwell. The final battle between the Light and the Void is gonna reach its peak, and we'll need the Elven tribes fully rallied as well as the Army of the Lights to put a stop to it all. With that all to bear in mind, here are some of the things I'd like to see come out of all of it. While Shadowlands had quite a few duds here and there, we did see quite the handful of customizations for all of the playable races, allied races included. Unfortunately, we've not really had any customization for any of the older races really since, and I think that's kind of a crime. So I think it's high time we see some new ones again for every playable race once more, and I'm not talking like new hair colors, no. I'm talking from orc eyebrows, troll beards, straight-backed Forsaken, Worgen tails, and longer elven beards. There's so many missing features baked already in the files that I think could and should be included, among all of this other new stuff too. So yes, absolutely we should gain some new customizations for just about everyone. Even if it's spaced out throughout the expansion, a bucket load of customizations is better than none. The Amani tribe, or rather forest trolls of old, have been given quite the bad hand over the course of Azeroth's history, and while it is true that they were our enemies once, like many other older foes, there's always the chance for them to turn over a new leaf. And for us to right all of our wrongs. Mainly us. And join against the threat that comes for their homeland of Zul'jin and the Ghostlands, and the rest of the regions that they own. Zul'jin and his successors of both Khazra-jin and Dakara were all brought low and killed, their lands taken from them by the elves and humans, their entire tribe betrayed by the Horde. So it's understandable that they be quite hesitant to ally with any of us, and that's most certainly something that would need to be sorted out. Perhaps through the aid of the Darkspears with Rokhan, or the Zandalari with Talanji, or maybe even the Reventus tribe that could be made possible. Heck, why not all three tribes come to aid the Amani? That'd be sick. And a new set of leaders, such as maybe Zul'jin's grandson or granddaughter, or maybe even a cool pair of twins that are his successor that could lead the Amani down a new road against the Void that encroaches on their land, just like the ancient days where their tribe fought the Akir of old, when those guys stumbled on their lands, or stumbled on their new lands rather, when they gave chase to them. And perhaps as well, the Amani will once again join the ranks of the Horde, and some form of customization for trolls can be unlocked. Maybe even a new allied race for the Horde. All in all, the Amani deserve to shine, and they deserve better within Midnight. The Arathi Empire is something we became quite aware of within our time in Hollowfall, and while the Arathi expedition were handy allies against both the evil Nerubians and that Void cult, we were told of how their mainland would view us, and it did not sound as if they'd be on the same measure of allies that we've grown fond of down in the bright-filled depths of Hollowfall. I especially see them hating the likes of the Horde, Void Elves, and any who'd really not value the lights or fit in with their estranged teachings. The Empire is very likely to be a foe down the road, and one of the things that seems definite and happening for good old Midnight is the battle of the Light and Shadow, here on Azeroth's very own surface, or as the Arathi have dubbed it, Renalash. To me, this makes me think that we will see them confront not only the Void, but us as well, likely seeing us as the catalyst to the storm, or just in their way on their mission. Whether we'll see them in full force led by their Emperor is uncertain, or if we'll even go to the mainland itself, but I do believe that we will see their armada come to take part in this battle, and it will not bode well for the Alliance, or the Horde. Speaking of Warriors of the Light, one faction and one person has certainly slipped under the radar for many for quite a while now, and that's Yrel and her Lightbound army. Yep, Yrel was our esteemed ally on the alternate world of Draenor in aiding us in our fight against Garrosh's Iron Horde and the demons that Gul'dan called forth onto the planet thereafter. We proved a bit too successful, it would seem, as the denizens of both the Orcs and the Draenei and everyone else on Draenor found peace on clearing out those demons from their world. And in that peace, Yrel and the other Draenei people reached out to the light, reached out to the Naru, which seemed to have tell her to push all those who dwelled on Draenor to heed its call or seemingly be destroyed. Not all agreed, of course, namely the Mag'har, now led by Grommash, or later Gai'ara afterwards, whom warred with her for a time. And while the Horde, led by Eitrigg on a mission to recruit these Mag'har back on Azeroth, was successful, not all on the alternate Draenor were saved, and were left to the recruitment or the wrath of Yrel. Specifically Grommash, who seemingly either was killed, turned, or was imprisoned by Yrel. Yrel's darker turn always seemed both strange and also sad to me. I ultimately think that Midnight would be a good time for her story to resurface, with her being a lackey the light and all, to help turn the tide maybe in the battle against the Void. And just maybe, we may even save her from the light's control, or discover that these were her true intentions. I hope not. I would prefer to save her, as I think she would make for a good new stand-in for Velen, if or when he wishes to retire, or, you know, maybe if he dies. Hopefully not, I like Velen. Would also be interesting to see this Exarch Hellscream in action, the so-called son of this alternate universe Grom, under her, and so that we could see him face to face. Maybe it's the secret child of Zayla and Garrosh though, and maybe we can save him from that dark fate too. I certainly think we're bound to see the Lightbound at some point. One of the features that I wasn't expecting to enjoy as much as I have has been the Delve feature, which is essentially just a mini instance where you fight your way through various enemies, collect treasures, gold, and helpful items until you reach the end to confront a boss of some sort. Along the way, you help the persons whom sent you down the Delve in the first place, giving it a sense of not only adventure, but a quest too. I loved Delves, and I'm really happy it's another source for me to get gear, and for something for me to do beyond dungeoning or raiding. But there is a bit of a downside to where you were stuck with Brand Bronzebeard as your companion. Ultimately, he did make great sense to be your first venturing partner, but I would have liked the option to have a new companion each season, as was the initial idea. But with the conclusion to War Within, Bran will seemingly be sticking behind, leaving us with a new companion, and my own personal hope for his replacement is none other than the champion of the Horde himself, Rexxar, whom has his own history of delving into caverns and dealing with various threats inside. He and his beasts would make for the perfect companions in our missions ahead within Quel'thelas. Perhaps he's asked by the Horde Council to aid us in taking the fight to the Void and Xal'atath and whatever she plans to do in the Elves' own region. I do believe that Blood Elves are the last race Rexxar has yet to help out within the Horde since his days of rejoining it back in Durotar's founding and also the Fourth War. Additionally, to add my own reasons for this, he was seemingly an idea that they had at some point anyways for Delves around the start of War Within. So why not dust him off and have him help us finish the fight? As we're going to be seeing the lovely, new, and updated Eversong Forest and the rest of Quel'thelas for Midnight, after all of these years of it being trapped in the nightmarish realm, what I can only call 2007.
Oh, good lord!
I think it's extremely fitting that we also with time, gain a new neighborhood and housing for that place as well, leaving us with places like Durotar, Elwyn, and then of course, Eversong as the third big new neighborhood for everyone. Could make the forests themed for the Blood Elves, High Elves, Amani Trolls, and the other residents of those forests. Maybe we'll even get to see it fit for the other elves whom might heed the call to action like the Night Elves and the Nightborn will. And while I'd prefer it to be added at some point within midnight for my elven pals, I would settle for this to be something that they find for the Last Titan, at least too. I do imagine we'll get the amazing new assets for the Elven Forests regardless for our current housing too along the way. Ultimately, I do hope we'll see these additions to Eversong for a neighborhood and housing someday, especially for midnight. Wrapping things up nicely now, and the only thing I can probably think of on how to wrap it up with is, for midnight, my major hope to see is the Horde in full action again. I've not been shy in making it known how disappointed I was with the lack of focus to the Horde and its characters in War Within, especially Thrall, whom was all over the marketing for some reason but had little to no role in the overall story itself. The Horde is absolutely my bread and butter. They're the reason why I'm so invested in Warcraft in the first place. And, well, without it, I'm just feeling a bit hollow, out of place really. But there's the future now to look at. I've no idea what it entails, but we know that it's the Blood Elven capital of Silvermoon City, and its land of Quel'thelas is under siege by the Void. In my eyes, it makes perfect sense that the Horde would arrive to help protect one of its own cities in danger, just as it had for Lor'themar during the Fourth War. This is the perfect time for all of that. I've no doubt in my mind that the Blood Elves and Nightborn will likely have the spotlight shown on them the most, nice and brightly, with Lor'themar Theron and Thalrisra leading the charge for their own kingdom. Same with the High Elves, Void Elves, and maybe even the Night Elves too. But I hope along the sidelines that we see the Horde Council in all of its glory make a stand, that other members within the Horde make a stand too. Doesn't need to be massive, but big enough to be seen and big enough to be heard. As I feel there's absolutely a story to be told between everything to remind folks that the Blood Elves are a part of the Horde family too. And I just think it would be something that the Horde as a community could use after everything that they've been through, especially of late. Plus, I do think there's a place to tell loads of other storylines, such as the Trolls rallying together to save Zul'jin, or the Horde and their plight against the Void, and potentially even the Light too, through the likes of Gaiara and her older brother Thrall. I just think there's plenty to still tell with so many within the Horde, and that's what I want to see, and I've wanted to see for quite some time. But those are my overall thoughts and hopes and wishes for the upcoming Midnight expansion. What are your ultimate hopes for the next expansion? I'd very much like to read them in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to hear more from me and my community, feel free to join us in our Discord, or if you like me enough, please support me on my Patreon like these amazing folks here. You can also hit that join button too. All helps in keeping this channel alive and well. But until next time, my friends,